Today we are going to be draining the coolant, taking off the fuel hoses, removing the air filter and getting stuck into this 3.2 VR6. So come and join us on the Southeast Mk2s. So on this engine we've got a Corrado VR6 radiator, where the best place to drain it is down the bottom right here. So let's do that. So that's the radiator removed. Drain the coolant. I've removed the fuel hoses from the fuel rail. Now I'm going to remove the heater matrix hoses from there and back here. Oh, and I've also disconnected the air filter with the MAF. So there's the throttle body there. Let's go. Oh God. It's the spawns of Satan. I now disconnect every electrical connection I can find on the engine. Where the magic happens. In a VR6. So here we go. Been busy for the last hour or two. I've disconnected the fuel hoses, disconnected every electrical connection which I can find which would be attached to the engine. And I've also disconnected the gearbox linkages and the cable mounting bracket. The air filter and the MAF has been disconnected, leaving the throttle body exposed, and everything that I can I've disconnected from the engine that I can see. Moved the coils as well, disconnected the loom for the coils. So the last job to do will be to disconnect the exhaust, which I think is going to put up a bit of a fight because those bolts have been on there for 7 years now, never come off in anger. So yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I'm going to leave them to soak in some penetrating fluid overnight and crack on tomorrow. So I've just removed the clamp from the downpipe. Saves me having to try and get up underneath the engine and undo some very tight manifold bolts. These ones, fortunately, they came undone pretty nicely, so credit to trackslag.com for their exhaust. It is an incredible piece of kit. So now the next thing to do will be to disconnect the lambda probes. You've got two pre-cat ones because this car doesn't have a catalytic converter, so you've got one and two there. So just got to undo them, make sure I label them up so they go back on the right way once the engine goes back in, because I don't really fancy putting those the long way around again, like it was at one point in its life, and it was causing pop and bangs and scaring old ladies. Whilst it was funny, it was maybe not the most practical. So it's a 22mm nut on that, which once you just crack it off, just undo that. Ow! So now we are going to take off the inlet manifold and we'll get to see what's going on inside. Be probably changing the gaskets whilst we're at it, because you know it will have been compressed over the years that it's been on, and whilst it's off we'll be giving it a bit of a clean up, because as you can see the paint sort of flaked and cracked. So we're going back the same colour. We like the black on black sort of look, so right, let's get started. As always, we are labelling the bolts as they go in the bag. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this side. And there's going to be a bunch around the back here somewhere, which I can't see right now. But the idea is we'll be getting access to the hooks so we can attach a crane to. So I know there's one here. The other one, I'm sure someone on the internet will tell me, but I don't know where that one is. So that's why we're taking this off, so we can get better access.
Okay.
is there a sound quite as satisfying as this? Oh. Oh, lovely. I just can't get enough of that sound. Oh. Every time I think I've found all of the bolts, another one rears its head. Because the bolts at the back of the inlet manifold are shorter than the ones around the rest, I have labelled them so as I don't get confused. I now disconnect any pipes and clips that I can find on the inlet manifold so that I can free it. And oh look, another bolt. And another one which I can't free because I'm too weak. Oh, crikey. Nope, let's try a different one. Alan!
Alan!
Finally, after a lot longer than I was hoping, the inlet manifold is off. The inlet manifold will be outsourced for paint because I won't be able to do it justice, and it's the focal point of the engine. So this is it. It's time. Everything has been disconnected from the engine, all the plumbing, all the electrics. It is now time for the engine to come out. The last thing remaining is to disconnect the drive shafts and then we'll be good to go. Now we're removing the drive shaft. So we've got a long extendable, some wheel bolts and a screwdriver to lock the brake. And then when we undo it, we'll be able to then turn it around and get to the next bolt after just removing the screwdriver. Oh yes. Oh. So this is something for people. When a lot of people take the front bumper off a Mk2 Golf, they are supported on by two 17mm bolts, same on the other side. What a lot of people do tend to do is take the bolts out and leave the engine basically being suspended on the front cross member, which is supported by one 13mm bolt either side. So you've got the whole weight of the engine leaning on the front cross member, supported by what are normally quite rusty 13mm bolts through a little captive nut on the other side. So don't do that. Support the front cross member on a jack or something solid. Even if you've got a jack underneath the sump, so just back it up with something in case your jack starts to just lower over time, because then when you want to take these out, you need to keep it in place. With everything removed, join us next time on Southeast Mk2 Golfs to see the engine come out and for it to be stripped down.